to do an interview with Illinois Chamber of Commerce to talk about the case, to talk about the call to action, where I need at minimum 88 different testimonies, and these testimonies are what they call victim statements. And these victim statements, I would like them to be rooted from, here's the call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You were calling me this morning.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
Okay, but hold on 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Rev. Yeah. Okay, well, we had, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good, okay, well, we had, she was waiting, anyway, we are here right now, okay, Ms. Clement is our guest. And she's a very, very interesting young lady out of Atlanta, Georgia. And so, hold on. 1 second, got a sound is ringing, hold on 1 second,
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Scott, ready, move on.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good afternoon again, St. Louis, Missouri, around the world. This to run through the Missouri Chamber of Commerce on the roof Saturday afternoon on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and also Instagram. And today we have a very special guest. I'm excited I want to talk to. And her name is Miss Christina Clement. Christina, how you doing today?
I'm amazing. And yourself?
Oh my God, Miss Clement and I have been talking. I'm highly blessed to talk to you. Miss Clement and I have been talking for the last couple of weeks. And one of my favorite things to say is, life is good. Well, she took that saying and changed it to what?
Life is amazing. It's not changing, we added to it.
You added to it. Okay.
We added to it.
Mm-hmm. And they added to it, okay. But anyway, right now, Miss Clement is running for president of the United States.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
And so now, Ms. Clement, why don't you tell us about your campaign, please?
So yes, I am running for president of the United States. I think it's over.
Say it again, president of the United States.
Yes, of America. And I think it's long overdue that we have proper representation. And for the past 5 years, I have completely dedicated my life to figuring out what are the missing pieces that we may be overlooking to accomplish that. And I definitely know for a fact that I've achieved that, and I've written a 750-page document related to that on an international level, and an 89-page document that's related on a state level of all the different things that the Afro community is struggling with and what we can do to get restitution for that.
And you mentioned the word Afro people, nation, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit, right? Tell us now, okay, that in that big document, okay, what led you to write that? Give us the premise, what it said, and what moved you to write it.
Okay, so originally, I have a lock salon, so I've been doing locks and teaching people how locks is linked to spirituality.
Okay, let's stop right. When you said lock salon, tell us what lock salon is.
So locks is what some people know as dreadlocks, but there's nothing dreadful about our locks. Locks is the process that we go in. But what most people don't know, that's like an oath that we make with God to commit to learning about God and aligning ourselves spiritually. So it's comparable to people wearing a cross or a yarmulke. It is our divine dedication to go on that journey. And most people don't know it, but there was a lot of discrimination happening with the workplace and different things like that. So when I was hearing these stories, I just, I'm overprotective of my babies. So any person that's in my circle, I'm super overprotective over them as well. So when I kept hearing these discriminating stories, I was like, yeah, something needs to be done. And I get everybody's in a peaceful state and don't want to turmoil, but that doesn't mean that we're supposed to be bullied in this state of our journey. So it started from there. And originally, I was pushing to get our own state. That's where State of Loc Nation came from. And I had declared our independence last year.
Okay, let's stop. Okay, tell us about Rock Nation.
So Loc Nation is about 1.1 trillion people worldwide. And it's a quiet nation. We pretty much are like in our peaceful state. You in a day, I challenge anybody to count how many people they see with locks. We are a huge population globally. It's not just a black thing. You'll find Chinese people with locks, Indian people with locks. Every race has locks. So we are a multifaceted people. Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that's why I think lots okay. I know here in our country right now, there's a young man. I won't see in Texas. Don't get me wrong. He got out of school at high school.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes, sir.
This is a mixed multitude of things because this is coming from God. God got a mixed multitudes of people out here that's uncountable.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And right now, it's mostly about our young people that's now seeing the difference here. And this is something that's a growing thing that's going to continue to grow. That's why I was excited, okay, about having this women come on. Because right now, like you said, it's not just a black thing. Lots of worn around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And now you see, a lot of white young people have locks.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, in the nutrition world, as we call that nutritious right now, here in Missouri right now, which is considered as we all okay. There's some laws being passed now about how they can continue to wear your hair in locks or dreadlocks or locks.
Right.
How they can. It's for your professional dress, I should say.
Correct.
A lot of people say they found dreadlocks to be intimidating to people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not intimidating. It's just I hate to use the word, but misconstrued, okay?
Correct.
I'm misinterpreted, and not being respect.
Correct.
For a culture, I should say, that's global. But really, people out of where I know, I'm using I was in kids, I met a gentleman, and one young lady was there and had a haircut, and he was stating that the design of your hair and your lock, they all tell a different story, am I right?
Correct.
That people need to understand, okay? So there's somebody that goes to this, I'm sorry, this go ahead, not that.
No, you're absolutely right. And if we take it all the way back to the beginning of time, locks was the original hairstyle. We know about Samson and his strength. Even the story of Medusa, where they try to say her hair was snakes. It wasn't snakes, it was locks, right? Even the Egyptians, the mummies, they had locks. These are our spiritual antennas. They're matched like the roots, so we're one of the same with nature, right? I had coined the word Nefesh Hummus, where we're souls on earth. Nefesh Hummus, which means souls on earth, and that's all that we are, right? We are one of the same with earth. Our hair grows the longest, like just like roots when it's not in its natural state. But if we want to bring it up to African times, in tribes they didn't have titles, mayors and this and that. You knew what tribe you were from based off of how your hair was and your features, right? So it's
Amen.
what was that?
No, real was in amen.
Oh yes, yes. And it's no one's fault other than the people who are going through the journey, is because we have a responsibility to tell our own story. We can't wait for someone to tell that story. So I had trademarked locks is our artifact of faith, so it's not misunderstood what the mission is, because when you on a spiritual journey and divine and you made your oath, you're not supposed to be discriminated against, but actually given that space to have that journey and that relationship with the Most High. So in that route of making that awareness that locks is our artifact of faith, I came across this role now to run for president. And the solution for our people is the solution for all people, and we're just missing that divine message in the system, in the Constitution. So I plan to dig up the roots of the Constitution, keep it the same because it protects our rights, but make it a more humane and just way about it.
Amen.
That's so important, okay, that one of the things that we're finding out in our country, after the census, that people of color are right now becoming the majority in our country, after the census this past time around. And it's important that we know that, and then we continue, to respect that also. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's not much respect.
That's a good point. We already are the majority, and here's where the confusing part came in my research, is because we are such a powerful people that we want to create a lane. We're creators. We're made in God's image, so we create. And so one group may create a name of African American, another group would say we're Negro, another group would say we're Black, another group would say we're Afro-Chinese. So now when you have these reports, when you look up just the category of Black, it may have, I'm just throwing numbers out there, it may only have 10,000. Okay, so you're only 10,000 as a Black category, you're a minority. But if we stop putting names together, if we stop using separate names and just stand in a line together, we're already a majority. So in my campaign, there's over 175 different categories that we have created to describe ourselves. So I just say, hey, if you consider yourself Aboriginal, I represent you. If you're Afro-Chinese, Afro-Palestinian, Afro-Indian, Black, Negro, nigger, whatever you want to call yourself, if you are of a darker complexion, I'm talking to you. And that makes us the majority right there.
One thing that I have to add, this week, you were ordained. Tell us about that also.
Yeah, so I in my salon, I consider that church because where two or more is gathered. And so we always talk about, because again, Locks is linked to spirituality. So while everyone's on their journey, we have an hour of one-on-one time where we can go ahead and redirect our perspectives and understand that what's happening in life is you're not in a victim space, because whatever experience you're having is either a lesson or a blessing. But either way, you're learning from both experiences. One would teach you boundaries, and one will reward you for going in the right direction, which in the Bible it says you could either go on your own understanding or follow my guidance. And what most people don't realize is what we call instincts is that quiet whisper from the Most High guiding you towards your purpose. So most people though like to see paperwork. So I have been ordained a reverend, but the work is already being done whether I have the document or not. But I do now have the document. So
Well, I think right now, okay, the spirituality is the key here,
mm-hmm.
you know, and I think one of the things, okay, even what you just mentioned about your salon, that when people come in there, you know, most of us, not most of us, all of us at some point in our lives have been to a barber shop or a beauty shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then doing it, okay, it's like it's like a community gathering.
Mm-hmm.
You have all ages there, you have all, I mean, everybody's in there,
Right.
and there's and if you wanna get the facts, okay,
Right.
And what I love about it, that in it, okay, if a young man or older middle-aged man there, if you respect each other in the barbershop more so than anything else that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the black community.
Yeah, that's like our school.
In all communities.
That's like our school, which goes again back to what our culture is. Our crown, my dad used to say, your hair is your crown, take care of it, right?
Yes.
But I didn't realize how really serious that is. Our hair really is our crown. That's why we take such pride in it. And it just, I used to do real estate for 14 years and thought that that was my life until I was like, I keep on repeating the same thing. I don't feel like this is purposeful. And I actually started doing locks thinking like, oh, this is easy. And, I could just be meeting people and talking to people and creating art in people's hair, not realizing that God gave me the assignment of Noah's Ark today. So I'm honored to do it.
Explain about Noah's Ark and that too.
So, like during COVID, I remember I kept getting all these like downloads, I call them, in my dreams and stuff. And at first, I had drew like this graph, and I was like telling my clients like something's about to happen. I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like it's time to build a community. So you have a purpose. You always love writing books. You should write books. And then we like work as a community and sell it, and whatever happens, at least we have a community to survive whatever's coming. And our challenge with our people is that we want to do stuff, but when life is lifing, we kind of drop those things to the wayside because they may not can envision how it makes them money to pay their bills. But I'm reminded that a bird wants for nothing. So that's that faith walk to know that, okay, I don't know how this is gonna work, but someone's telling me to do it. So I ended up doing all of those things, which led me here. So it's just being obedient, honestly. Not knowing that it was gonna lead me up to this presidency to basically say, Pharaoh, let my people go. Let's do this the right way. Because we wasn't born to be put on earth to be held down with systematic oppression and all that. When this earth was given to all of us, we can live in harmony. We can.
Amen. And the one thing I noticed in all the time I spoke to you, and we've been talking for probably about a month now, would you say?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But not one time, okay, and I didn't ask you this, are you running a Democrat or Republican? Are you independent?
Oh, so I am independent. A State of Loc Nation party. Yep. And why I'm saying State of Loc Nation party because Republicans, their stance pretty much is, hey, I worked my butt off to make my money. I don't feel like I should give it to anyone, which is a fine argument to have when you're kind of in them younger years, right? But then something happens about 40-ish and higher where your body is kind of deteriorating and you're getting tired. Now the Democratic viewpoint comes like, hey, I need some help here. How can I get help? Which is a great requirement at that time frame in a person's life. And the Green Party, they're like, listen, I don't care what you got going on, just make sure we protect the earth. So they all have really good points, right? When we take the greed out of it, when we take the independent visuals or the corporation corruptions out of it, the arguments are great. So I'm coming in as the State of Loc Nation party where, okay, guys, let's all bring these viewpoints together. Let's implement these things on a age basis, right, or a handicap basis, and we can make everything work and move smoothly. And whatever we do here is gonna influence the international countries as well. I really don't think it's hard. As long as we get rid of the corruption and the greed, we'll be all right.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Got something to help us right now. The whole image of bibliology for us is male and female.
Mm-hmm.
It means that many would have us to believe that the Holy Bible is chauvinistic book which celebrates a group of males who receive special blessings and gifts from the Almighty God.
Mm-hmm.
Those of us who are ordained Bible readers and churchgoers understand that this belief is far from true.
Mm-hmm.
We do not know that the role of women during the development of the Bible was not typical.
Mm-hmm.
Biblical women roles were subtle, quiet, and passive, but this is not entirely a fact.
Mm-hmm.
There are several accounts in the Old Testament of the lives of strong women, and very often it was because of women that outstanding biblical male characters were able to affect their parts in Bible history.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. So true. So true.
Yeah. I was thinking that the thing that excites me about this is that this is like there are 7 years described there about how people's perspective changed, at the early part of their life, and then at the middle age and older, and how the Republican, Democrat, the Green Party, just about how those things change. But in Loc Nation, okay, it's still the same all the time.
Mm-hmm. That consistency.
Right?
Yeah, it's consistent. It's a consistent history with Loc Nation. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, having said that, what is your plan to expand your platform to get to more people? What are your goals about doing that?
Okay, so the two documents that I have mentioned, those are actual court cases from beginning to end. So the international one, which is the 750-page document, that also has the insert of it's a practitioner guide from the International Commission of Jurists. So that one, if a person reads it from front to cover, you really can read it from a judge's perspective, even with the reward. So when the judge comes back with its answer, we can hold the judge accountable as well, because we're reading the same document he will read, right? So that we can get a fair verdict on that regards. Now the 80.
Mm-hmm. Small people, okay?
Uh-huh.
Give us some of the high points of that document.
All right, so this particular one, I'm gonna talk in my language. It pretty much requests wherever there's black people on any country's soil, I want you at the table. And then I am not blaming anyone. I am just presenting the history of what happened to black people, and ask them, how is it that you claim that you are representing the people, but these things occurred for this many times? And in the Bible it says, if you find a thief, you gotta pay them back twofold. So it includes our own census, because we can't hold anybody accountable to count our people. So we have our own census, we have our own graph, our own chart, our own lineage, or what they call a pedigree. And we have our own glossary as well. So when they review all of that, then they have the evidence. I have the court cases, the statutes of limitations, all these different terminologies to speak their language in that legalese terminology for them to render a decision. And I did ask for a max remedy on all counts with land, foundation funds, all that. So that's pretty much the PowerPoints in volume 2. Volume 3 now focuses more on the campaign, and that one is in the jurisdictions of all states. So in terms of reparations, which mostly that's the focus of our people, I've been reading a lot of cases, and the reason we couldn't get reparations is because you had to prove the government was responsible. I have I have brought that to their attention. We all know about the story of Willie Lynch, but there was some discrepancy because they try to make it seem like he wasn't real. But he had to been real because his father, who is Charles Lynch, was the creator of the lynching law, right? Willie Lynch is the Willie Lynch is the son who came up with the Lynch letter, right? In that letter, it describes the very thing that our people are struggling with to this day. And they both were colonels. They both was colonels. So yes, the government is responsible for what happened. So that's that part. And then when it comes to the oath of office, I basically bring that claim up to the Chief Justice, because I cannot take an oath to protect a constitution that doesn't protect the people. So we need to address that. And then I contest the election because as an independent party, and I'm gonna pull it up so I can have exact numbers. Let's say in the state of California, they require me to have 219,403 actual physical signatures. But if I was a Democrat, only 26,000, and if a Republican, only 52,863 signatures. How is that fair? So that now comes up to the Electoral College, and they need to address how is this going in different states. New York, 45,000 is required from independent, but if I was a Democrat, only 15,000, and if I was a Republican, 5,000. So these different states that's not requiring the same amount of signatures from all parties needs to be addressed. Then I bring up the gerrymandering issue with the realigning of the zip codes to water down our votes. I just pretty much bring and back to the categories on who I represent. And I also bring the class action as well for reparations on the state level in this. But I don't call it reparations, I call it restitution for kidnapping during the illegal slave trade. And I ask for the max penalty for all of that. So all that is there, and it's filed, and you can find it in the District of Columbia Court. They have been trying to postpone the answer, so now they have until May 21st to respond to me. So we'll see if they do a motion.
Great, you got a response from them recently, didn't you?
Well, the response basically was for them to extend their required time to respond to the case, which is fine. I know this is a lot of reading, but I think May 21st is the last extension they should be allowed. So I'm gonna prepare another motion to basically show them that I've been submitting these documents to them all of last year, so they had more than enough time to prepare themselves. Yep.
Let me put this out here.
Mm-hmm.
So if I hear what you're saying, okay, you're actually saying that the system that the president is, okay, is illegal or unfair. Amen.
Well, I mean, as I talk to people when I'm out and about or in an Uber ride or just in general, that's a common knowledge. It's a common knowledge. right?
Yeah, man.
So I'm not really presenting anything new. I'm just saying
Right.
you guys already
Just
knew
telling
this
the truth.
because you created Civil Rights Act, you added all these different revisions to the Constitution in our regards. So you already understood that you wronged us. You just never paid us, and that's all. I'm just bringing the facts to the table.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Uh-huh.
I also live around this side for quite a while. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, in terms of your original question on how I expect to expand, I believe that when they finally do answer the court case and we do start, that case alone is going to trigger the press because they're ignoring independent parties now. But once the case starts, then it will trigger the press, and then people will start to understand what it is now. But if anyone wants to read it, the document is on the stateoflocnation.com website or on Amazon. So it's there, and anybody can read.
Just digress. I
Hmm.
looked 3 times, okay?
Hmm.
How they can get to Live Nation? How can they do that?
So it's www.stateoflocnation.com, or they can go to my full.
No, say that 3 times. No.
Oh,
Yeah,
say
three
it
times.
3 times. Okay. So www.stateoflocknation.com. Again, is www.stateoflocknation.com, or my full name, which is www.christinalorenclement.com. Second time,
Not feel that. Not feel that. You
spell
gotta
it.
feel that.
Okay, it's CHRIS as in Sam, T as in Tom, I, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, LOREN as in Nancy, C as in Charlie, LEM as in Mary, EN as in Nancy, T as in Tom .com. All the information is there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was the first. So right now, okay, if we can have our conversation, as I told you earlier on, okay,
Mm.
now I'm saying that the pieces are coming together here.
Okay.
That what you said, okay, what would take place, with the violence that you have done to. Now, where was this? How and who did you found this with the document?
Repeat that last part.
Okay, who did the document found with? Okay, no, who?
Oh, where is the case filed?
Yes.
Okay, so the case is filed with the District of Columbia. So,
Okay.
and that's in Washington, D.C. Huh?
Why Washington D.C.?
Because that's where they handle this type of a case, especially because I originally wanted to have this conversation with the Chief Justice. He's in the Supreme Court, but there's a process that you have to go through. You got to go through the District Court first, then the Appellate Court, then the Supreme Court. So I just thought, since I'm gonna follow the rules, no problem. So when I filed it in the district court, that didn't change the fact that I still wanted to talk to the Chief Justice. So I just made him the defendant. So he can come down to the district court. We could have that conversation there. Yeah. Yeah.
Say. Before we came on the air, okay, I was talking to Allen Lyles, and we concluded, okay, about a black female running for president to get some, that black females, they were get some organization to the point on some issues, okay? And as I'm listening to what you're saying, this approach that you're taking here is very unique.
Yes.
Okay? Very, very unique, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was just, it's never been done before, so I can't say it won't work, okay?
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Everybody that I come across and let them know that I'm running for president, and then they hear the work that I've done, they're like, well, you got my vote, but they're still financially struggling, right? So I couldn't come to grips with doing a fundraiser from people who are already financially struggling to go into a campaign that's already wedded for failure, right? So I had to sit still and pray on it and say, okay, God, you took me here, but it's so corrupt. There's no way that I want to bring the people this way, you know? And then something dawned on me that anything that goes through the courthouse is respected a certain kind of way. So I did some research and I realized, okay, if I won the presidency, Chief Justice is gonna be the one to read me the oath. So he's the best person that I need to talk to. All right, cool. How do I talk to him? All right, he only responds if you file a case. Now, most of us don't like the courts at all. Why? Because it's just never fair. But I know no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So this is the walk that I gotta walk. And I know I'm not coming with ill intent. I'm not trying to do anything against anybody. I just know that this needs to be done for the betterment of all people, because the kids need a better environment. You know, it's just getting way too corrupt. And God is real serious about protecting the children and the elderly. You know what I mean? So we walking into a world where the kids ain't even safe. I got a problem with that, because I raised mine to be real good, but they need a world now that they can go ahead and prosper in everything that I taught them, right? So this is just me clearing it out so that we can let all the kids out back and play and be kids again. And it just has to be done this way. It just has to. Yeah, so I'm ready. But I do need all the testimonies that I can get from anybody who has been wronged, from systematic oppression, from police brutality, from slavery, from mental illness, whatever that story is. I just need all of that. And that will be basically they need victim statements, right? So I need all those statements so I can go into this court case and say, here's all the statements from everyone who is affected by everything that we have been crying about for years. Now, what are you gonna say about that, Your Honor? Right? And with all the evidence that I have, then they're gonna have to appoint me president at that point.
How do they appoint you president?
Because the Electoral College is supposed to make sure that the campaign is fair, and with their evidence and with their documents, and unfortunately with Trump's behavior, there has been fraud and it has been documented. So while they decertify a few people, I kind of get that position from that point on.
Okay, so how do they vote? How do you?
We are the majority, so they count the majority vote. We are already the majority.
Hey, Ira, remember one thing? Hey, Ira.
Yes, sir.
You forgot one thing. God said he plucked up and plucked down. So God is working it. This is done with our hands.
Yep. And all we gotta do is be obedient. And he doing it. He working it. We can see in the news everything is moving in that direction. I'm just being obedient. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So really, it seems to me, okay, and I'm just, that answering questions here.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that you have taken the system, that's presently there, that Tutorial College on down, and kind of combine all the deficiencies, the wrongness, I should say, going back, to restitution.
Mm-hmm.
Back, sort of our country, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And taking all the statements, all the miscarriages of justices that have taken place over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and calling them and people who are now filing their cases, okay, along with you,
Mm-hmm.
to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, am I right?
Correct. We have plenty of documentaries out there. We have plenty of movies that's showing the injustices. We have plenty books that speaks on the injustice. Even the courthouses have wills that, that show slave owners and all that kind of stuff. So it's not, again, I'm not creating imagery that already hasn't been there. I am literally, remember that cartoon Transformers? I'm literally just pulling all the pieces together, right? Putting it all there, using their laws, and say, here's your laws, here's your statutes, here's the victim statements, here's this, and I'm presenting it all together, and I'm saying, how did we protect the people if all of this occurred? Where did we go wrong? And here is a solution to correct it. That's it. That's it.
The dark come to the light.
Yeah.
And that's how it's coming out. That's why it's done by God.
That's it. He said the last will now be first.
Right. So let me give you, I guess, a hypothetical here,
Mm-hmm.
and we can kind of learn from this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Most recently here in Missouri, around the country, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
they have found that the Catholic Church had used slave, and they have taken black folks' land from them
Mm-hmm.
and built their churches, their churches, their schools, their institutions
Mm-hmm.
with black labor,
Mm-hmm.
and also, this is what comes to my mind now. I read years ago how black labor went well.
Okay.
They kind of fits into your theory that you have here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that would do. So in a case where the Catholic Church here has abused the blacks for their gain here,
Mm-hmm.
they will be someone that they be an example of someone that will be able to reconcile with those blacks and they're mistreated. Am I right?
So that's kind of like pointing the finger per se, but there's a lot of hands in there, right? Because some of us speak
Right.
English, some of us speak Spanish, some of us speak French,
French and
all that.
Right, yeah.
So though all Latin, right? So I believe every one of them have a part to play. Now, if all of those point to that particular religion, then they will have to go to them and say, hey, we followed your orders. You're going to have to come in on this and help, right? So that's for them to address whoever it is that.
Now we have to who's of them? The Chief Justice?
No, you were talking about the Catholic religion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I can't speak on that part, right? Because I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is the wrongdoers know who had a hand with them, right? So if it turns out that that is the case, then that's something that they would have to address together. Basically, they being all the wrongdoers. Whoever is the criminal in the case, then they have to figure out how to repair the damage that was done, basically. So, mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. No, I was done.
No, 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 what I want to say here, it seems as though, that you have a well thought out plan here, okay?
Yeah.
That's kind of focus, okay,
Mhm.
on the root of the problem.
That's the
You know,
only way we
every,
gonna fix it. That's the only way we gonna fix it.
Hey, Ira, the
yes, sir.
spirit serves the spirit, and the flesh serves the flesh. This is spiritual.
Mhm.
Mhm.
This is 100%. We in a spiritual warfare. That's the only way.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Mhm. That's the only way.
Okay,
That's
so
what I'm talking about in my way, though.
Okay. That's good. That means you are also a messenger as well. And we all have a role to play. We all have a role to play. This is not just a one person thing. Mhm.
You work it together.
That's it. That's it. Where many are what? Where many are called, few are chosen.
Yep. Get it, remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But
one body.
yeah, but I had 4 car accidents back to back. After that last one, I'm like, all right, God, what is it that you want me to do? I'm all ears because that hurted a lot, right? So, but I was appreciative that He spared my life, And ever since then, it was just me and Him. After that, I worked on making God my best friend, and I just practiced on building that spirituality. I used to wear a mustard seed around my neck to remind me that faith is like a mustard seed until it was automatic. So his voice right now is super loud anytime, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I do have my shortcomings. But once I realize it's a shortcoming, I make sure I repair or remedy those things, because nobody could correct me but God and my accountability. So,
Yep.
but my faith walk or my never ending walk is to always sharpen my relationship with God, and I pray all the time for wisdom, clarity, and discernment, because it really is a spiritual warfare out here, and that's why I'm able to do this walk sort of alone, but I'm not alone because I have people like you guys around, or people on my journey with, you know, even if they say God bless you, that's a lot. I take those. I take those as a step, because you didn't have to take your time out to say that. So I appreciate those things. Or if somebody say, hey, you should do this and you should do that, many people will look at it and be like, well, why are you telling me to do it? Maybe it wasn't their role to tell you to do it, but they can just point out something you might have not seen. I take that too, and I pray for wisdom, clarity, and discernment, if that was a divine message or was that something to take me off of my path. And so far, so good. I call it my little Red Riding Hood walk through the jungle.
Okay, well, we've been enjoying Chuck Debow, our CEO of the Nest, Congress, Chuck. Welcome to the program, Chuck.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it. I'm a very, very much a student and a listener in this dialogue.
Okay, well, right now,
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Chuck, today, our guest is Miss Christina Clement, and she's running for President of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she's doing. And so now, okay, she's doing it from a Miss Christina, what do you tell Chuck about, about Black Nation, how you talk about it, and how you proud, how you gonna get with the Chief Justice, the process right quick.
Oh, like a overview of it.
Yeah, a quick overview.
Oh, okay. So in my salon, I do locks, and I teach people about the lock journey and how it's linked to spirituality. I have trademark locks as our artifact of faith to let everybody understand that it's just not hair for us. It's a devotion that we do to the divine. And my journey started when I started hearing all of these discriminated acts that was happening to a lot of my clients. and I decided to do something about it. But I didn't want them to feel like I'm fighting them, but more so like, hey, you have a job to do, and we as a people hired you to do that job, but here's how you're failing. And in that journey of doing that and putting together the cases so that I nobody has to work, right? I don't have to pay you thousands of dollars to put this case together. Let me just put the case together and present it to you. And that's how I came out with Reveal the Kingdom of Loc's Nazareth Vow Continues. There's 3 volumes of it. The volume 1 declared our independence and explained how we are linked to the King David and King Solomon, all the way to the Maroons, all the way to who we are now. Volume 2 is the court case on an international level, which is getting restitution for the illegal kidnapping during the illegal slave trade. And volume 3 is basically addressing all the corruption that's happening during the campaign, and also seeking restitution for the illegal slave trade on a state level as well. And so that's pretty much in a nutshell of everything that I'm doing.
And right now, she's filed a lawsuit against the Supreme Court Chief Justice.
Yeah, so it's the Attorney General and the Chief Justice all together in the District Court of Columbia. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
It took me about 5 years to prepare all of this stuff. So it was a lot of missed birthdays and a lot of missed parties and a lot of late nights. I just couldn't sleep because, I just was getting all these messages and my fingers were just typing away. So it was definitely a dedicated focus. I kind of just told myself, all right, you're going to put yourself in law school without actually being in law school. And I had to teach myself the language first, and then I had to read their rules and regulations. And then upon reading that, I'm like, well, how did this happen if you have this law? Well, how did this happen if you have this law? So I just, like a transformer, brought it all together, and that's where we have volume 2 and volume 3 now. And volume 2, it was sent to Switzerland to the Hague Court over there. So the International Jurist Commission's courts, that's over that part, and then this one here is in the District of Columbia. So they're both kind of being worked on at the same time. Yep.
And she recently got an extension. They asked for an extension most recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they extended till May 21st to respond to the case. Yeah. So if you Google my last name, which is Clement, and the Attorney General, it will come up and you'll be able to see it. Garland is his last name. So if you Google Clement versus Garland, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. And stateoflocnation.com has the both cases on there as a PDF copy. You're welcome to read it. If you are a person like me that needs the physical copies in your hand, then they're on Amazon. All you gotta do is place that order and they'll ship to you and you can read it in your spare time. But for people who wanna look at it right now, it's on State of Loc Nation for free, and you're welcome to read it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Chuck, this is one of you remember so okay, and she's based out of Atlanta. And right now, with Miss Peggy, rather than trying to update Chuck totally, Chuck has an announcement to make himself, okay?
Okay.
Chuck, so I'm not gonna interfere Chuck with the announcement you're about to make. But talk about
What announcement are we talking about?
well, right now, this current, yes,
Okay, that's what I thought, but I want to make sure. Yes, we're excited and proud to again host the 124th Annual National Black Business Conference between the National Business League, the World Conference of Mayors, the Historical Black Towns and Settlements, and the National Black Chamber of Commerce coming together under the National Alliance for Black Business. And we're hosting the 124th Black Business Conference at the Atlanta Hilton, August 21st through the 25th. And for details and information, and we're adding it all every day almost in terms of sponsors and speakers, but we've really gotten a lot of interest. We actually had 100 people register within the first 2 hours of the press release going out. And so you can go to nationalblackbusinessconference.com and you can see all the information there about it. But everybody is welcome. And by all means, you're welcome to ask for what you want to see or who you'd like to hear or meet or speak with. We're at the point now of reviewing over 500 speaker requests. So it's not till August, but we got a head start and everybody's planning on it. So we're looking forward to it, and certainly having the Missouri Black Chamber there and all your members and constituents, and looking forward to your participation.
Awesome.
Last year we did this in about 90 days, am I right, Chuck?
Absolutely. These are big conferences. These are the type of conferences that just grow. And we were just happy that we were able to get 1,900 registered our first year. And we really did it in 90 days, which
Wow.
for the inaugural. See, so it's kind of it's a little bit, let me explain. It's the 124th National Black Business Conference, but there were a number of years where they didn't have it.
Okay.
This was founded by Booker T. Washington in the 1900s.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was actually 124 years ago.
Mm.
And we're based on the principles of self-empowerment economics, meaning that we do business with each other, we support our communities,
Awesome.
we're active, and just like you were talking about the church, that's where the strength and the anchor of the community historically had come from.
Okay. That's awesome. So what would you like me to do to help?
You're welcome to be part of the delegation of the Missouri Black Chamber and talk with Mr. Fowlkes there about how you would like to participate. Certainly consider getting a booth and exhibit and having your books there for you to sign them, but it depends on what you would like to say or to receive from Black business.
Got you. I understand. Okay, that's awesome. That's super awesome. Mm-hmm.
It is. Like last year, I was there, and I will tell you that we had participants from around the world, that participated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the strong things that came out of it was I thought about Dr. Harris for the National Business League and the relationship with the Nasdaq Chamber of Commerce, how that come about. So tell us how that relationship became a reality.
We're at a time where opportunities and market share and things that we kind of came in to take for granted, they've been taken away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Corporations telling us that they don't have to do business with us, but they certainly don't want to be controversial or to be sued or to be part. I'm talking about affirmative action and diversity, equity, inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, why are we trying to do the same things amongst ourselves, replicate or duplicate or compete,
Mm-hmm.
when we're going to work together, but we wanted to bring civil society together.
Okay.
And civil society includes the municipalities,
Mm-hmm.
the states, counties, the governors,
Okay.
the everybody that represents a community, the church.
Okay.
So the National Business League is 124 years old.
Mhm.
The World Conference of Mayors is celebrating their 40th anniversary this year,
Mhm.
and they are the organization of black mayors, and this one is the smaller cities.
Okay.
The big cities have a lot of black mayors too, but we're talking about, like, I think near you is Haiti.
Mhm.
Haiti.
Well, no. She's based in Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta, our headquarters is in Tuskegee. So there's all sorts of, those historical black towns and settlements are really many of the major cities that were back in the early American industrial revolution based around cotton and tobacco.
Okay.
So they used to call it Tobacco Road and all that, where they were really the commerce of the country was driven, by the free labor from slavery, and it was cotton and tobacco.